Hello, and welcome to another training and another episode of Building a Business, Grit and Grace, with me, Anna Angelova, business coach and consultant, and host of this podcast and of this training, which we are now doing live in our Visionary Founders Club. So if you are not part of the club, come join us so you can hop in live as we are recording these sessions on Tuesdays, usually 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Although in the next few weeks, as the holidays are approaching, we will probably be changing the time and moving it to noon. But let's see how this one goes. I'm not going off topic today. And speaking of the topic today, what I will be covering, because Joris is actually attending a special dinner today. So what I'll be talking about is mapping your customer journey. And this is one of the things where, if you think about it, especially as you are starting, you might not be focusing on this. And the customer journey is really, really important. And what you want to do, and what we do actually with our clients in the Launch 360 program, is like we design the customer journey. And if you're wondering like what it is, it ultimately the customer journey is the path that someone takes from the moment they discover you to the moment they buy from you and to the experience they have after they buy. So it doesn't stop with them buying. It actually until the last goodbye, in whatever way it is. And one of the reasons why we focus on this and why it's important, and I'm covering this today, is that if people don't know what to do next, they do nothing. Like inertia is actually, a lot of times, inertia is our biggest competitor. Like we might be thinking the coach, the other coach is my biggest competitor, as I'm a business coach and the other person is a business coach. Or you might be thinking that the bakery that is like 2 blocks away is your biggest competitor. Or in whatever industry, like you might be thinking that your biggest competitors are other people doing the same business. But ultimately, our biggest competitor is inertia. And again, when people don't know what to do next, when they are confused, they do nothing. They don't buy. I think this is even the saying now that a confused mind doesn't buy. I do not remember who said it, but I do believe it is a saying and something that's very like, popular and well known in the business world. So when it comes to mapping your journey, especially if you are just starting, but even if you already have an established business, it's really good to get back to foundations. And like if you're starting, like starting simple. So from the moment someone finds you to the moment your last touch point, like when you're starting, you don't need like 5 funnels, you don't need 10 automations, 25 sequences or whatever. And especially when you are starting, you rarely need a dozen avatars. But if you are working in a B2B world, even when you're starting, you might need a few avatars, customer avatars, because you might have someone who uses your product or service and a different person who buys. So in this case, you need like, at least a couple. But what I'm trying to say ultimately is that you don't need complexity in the beginning. And it's good to think about the whole process in 3 simple steps. Like this is one thing that we're finding that really works well as you're starting your journey is thinking about what needs to happen. Like the first step, the marketing, is like, people need to know about you, about your solution, that you are actually in business, right? If they don't even know about you, how would they buy? So the first thing is the marketing. The first thing is attracting people and somehow letting them know that this is it. This I have a business now, or this is my business, this is the service or the product, or this is the pain point we are fixing, and all this the problem we're fixing. So the first part is people need to know. They need to be able to find you. And this is how they enter into your world. Now, how do they find you? it can be anything, right? It can be a social post, it can be paid ad that they see, it can be through traffic, like your website or blog traffic. It can be something that they see on like a YouTube video they see. It can be because you are in the farm, you have a booth at the farmer's market. This is how we found out about a cupcake company actually, and we got to try their cupcakes. Or it can be an email from a friend. So when it comes to mapping and designing your customer journey, if you're just starting, choosing one primary channel so you can really get to those first sales. Now, if you already have a business and you do not have a customer journey, you haven't really designed or mapped your customer journey, look at your existing customers and how do they find you? Like, where are they coming from? And focus on this channel. And when you are starting, chances are that most people will actually come from your contact list. Like these would be people who already know, like, and trust you. And this is something very important, by the way. The know, like, and trust factor is something really, really key. So when it comes to your first clients, this can either be second degree connections or acquaintances, people you've already met, and they might be former classmates, even former coworkers, rarely best friends and family, depending on what you're selling, actually, what your product or service is. In the podcast, actually, I think one of the first episodes, if not the first interview, the first interview in the podcast that actually was with Amna Naval, and she uh, shares how when she started with her business, one of the first buyers was actually her cousin. So if you're selling products, your family can be your first buyers. With services, it can be a little bit trickier. But ultimately, when it comes to marketing, how are you finding your people? Like, how are you attracting them? Where are they? And like, what's the touch point, or what are the touch points that you have when you attract people, when you market to people? This is what you want to do to start mapping that customer journey. So within marketing, how are you finding them? What are the touch points? And whichever channel you choose to focus on, the one key thing, as with anything within business actually, is consistency. So what you actually need to do is stay really consistent with the channel that will provide the fastest return on investment, the fastest ROI. And again, when we are starting, this channel most likely is your contact list, people that already know you, like you, and trust you. So this is for the marketing part. Now, the next component of customer journey, and the next one that you want to map, is the buying process. How do you sell? And when it comes to this, or ultimately, this is also how you convert people from just being prospects to being paying clients, to being customers. So ultimately, there are two main ways here. One is direct sales. So this is where people just click on something and pay, or come in the store and pay in cash, and that's it. The other one is through sales conversation, or some kind of an enrollment conversation. And this is where, like, usually this is in B2B environment. And this is also when you are selling something that is more expensive. And again, thinking about your own experience, not just as a business owner, but also as a consumer. Like, how do you buy certain things? Like when you go to the grocery store, when you buy a book, present for Christmas, even it's coming up, how you buy these versus how you buy a car, how you sign up to work with a business coach. So when it comes to your business, and when it comes to that first product you or service you're creating, what way is it working? Is it something that you can do with a simple sales page? Can you go just like at Cupcake Company I mentioned? Can you go to the market, to the farmer's market and have a booth there where you're selling? Can it be some kind of an post that automatically now some of the social media platforms they started having integrations where people you can just buy things there directly. So how are you doing this? Or is it a sales conversation where you actually need to have even a demo or maybe a consultation? And sometimes it's actually multiple appointments, depending on how expensive this is. Like when you're buying a car, for example, it usually takes a couple of trips to the dealership before you purchase the car. And then with B2B as well, also depending on the size of the contract, it can be something where like, you have an initial discovery call. Then you might have a demo where you show them something. You might have additional appointment with other key stakeholders until you actually finalize the sales process. So what does it look for you? Do this as an exercise. Think about the sales process. Is it a simple click or is it multiple touch points with different outcomes and different next steps? And once you have the once it's successful, then of course the next part of the customer journey is what happens after they buy, the delivery. And this one is important. Like you might be thinking, oh, I mean, like I have a product, I don't have a service. So once people buy from me, that's it. Like no relationship, nothing. And even if you're selling some kind of a commodity. However, in today's world, the experience we provide, even when we're selling products, even if these products are commodities, it matters. And it's important to map touch points and to see how you provide value after people purchase. And when it comes to the product, I just want to quickly cover this. So everything from packaging to the unboxing experience, the speed of delivery. Like Amazon has ruined it for all of us now that we expect things to arrive at our doorstep like immediately almost. Instructions to how to use it, like instructions for the customer to how to use whatever it is, how to assemble it if it comes from IKEA. Then also any follow-ups, any care packages or something like this, return process, and even loyalty programs. Like these are all things that are touch points after you have a successful sale. And then, of course, like if you're in the service business, you know that ultimately the bigger part of the relationship with your customers, with your people starts after the sale. You have the onboarding, you have some kind of a kickoff call. You want to clear the expectations so everyone knows what's going on. How are you going to communicate? What kind of channels you're using? How often you're meeting? Any kind of a roadmap or plan or milestones? Whatever check-ins you need, and the whole delivery process, uh, any kind of support after the delivery, plus of course closing and offboarding and all these kind of things. So you can see how actually this part, the delivery part, is the biggest one, even for products, not just for service businesses. So regardless of the type of business you are in, take your time to think about this and ask yourself for this part. And it's actually not just for the delivery, for the delivery especially, but what do people expect? Like, what's the minimum expectation they have, like the basic expectation? And then are you meeting it? And then you can also add additionally for all these touch points that you have with your customers is what did you promise them and are you delivering on this promise? So this is how you like, map all these touch points with the sale, with the marketing, with the sales, with the delivery, like all these touch points based on your business, the business you have. How are you interacting with your prospects and then clients? And then what do they expect for each of them? Are you delivering? And then what did you promise? And are you delivering? And this way you see what the path looks like. You start seeing that, okay, from this step, people can go, they need to go to that step. And then from this the step B, they need to go to step C. Now, one thing that happens is that sometimes, like I did mention something very important, the know, like, and trust. And this is where I read recently Endless Referrals from Bob Burke. I reread it. And this is where he mentions that everything being equal, people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. So if you think about the whole journey of the customer journey, it's really about building that trust, building the know, like, and trust factor to a level where people really trust you, they like you, they trust you, and they say, okay, help me with this problem. And then you continue delivering on this trust that you've built. So sometimes, and again, especially when it comes to bigger purchases, the process is not that simple. Like they don't go from just marketing, just a simple, hi, this is what I do, to a sale. Sometimes the gap between the marketing and the sale itself is bigger. So it's not one step that people can take. Now, when you're starting, you'd like to definitely test and see, can it happen and how it works if you just have the marketing and the sale. Like you just have that initial touch and then it's like, okay, let's go to a sales conversation. The fewer steps people need to take, the better in general. But sometimes the step is bigger. So what happens at that time is that you need to enhance your marketing and have people take smaller steps. Have people say yes to, if they're not saying yes directly to buy from you, they might say yes to something smaller. And this is where all these small freebies or lead magnets come in. And this is giving people value and showing them that you know what you're doing, you are solving this problem for them, you can solve this problem, you're trustworthy, right? You're building that know, like, and trust factor. So, we've heard about this kind of freebies, like any kind of guide, webinars, workshops. We're actually planning a workshop with Newcomer Business Canada. So, like workshops, email series, it can be some kind of a quiz, how-to videos can be freebies, education cards or something like this, free samples at an event. They can be a freebie where people taste and then buy things. So these freebies, these lead magnets, they are stepping stones that, as I said, they build the know, like, and trust factor. So as you're designing your customer journey, think about whether you need a stepping stone and how much of it you need and what kind of stepping stone it needs to be. And when it comes to lead magnets and freebies and stepping stones, ultimately they're part of the bigger idea of nurturing the relationship, of getting people from I found you to I'm ready to buy from you. And this is where, again, depending on how cold your audience is, how much they know about you, they might need a lot of touch points with you before they say yes to your offer, before they even consider jumping on a sales call with you or going to your page. And as much as we don't like this, and I'm like, I would love for people to just click and buy a coaching package. I would love for it to happen. Yet, like when it's about like and business coaching especially, like it's an investment in four figures, and depending on the level, it might be five, even six figures for business coaching and consulting. So it requires touch points. It requires for me and for us to show up and provide value and build that know, like, and trust factor. And what we're doing right now, like this podcast, is part of it. This training that we are doing live, where we can answer questions. This is a way for us to build the trust. And then, like emails, educational content, product demonstrations, free sessions, in person conversations, testimonials, uh, whatever. These are all kind of touch points and ways for you to, and for us ultimately as well, to build the know, like, and trust factor, where, oh, I know her, oh, I'm starting to like her, oh, this is what she's saying, and I trust based on what I've seen from her, or the value that she has delivered and the results I've seen for my business. Now I want to sign up with her, I want to work with her, I want her to help me start my business, I want him to uh, be the one who does the construction for my house, for example. We do have a very big problem with skilled trades and lack of skilled trades in Canada. So some of these are on top of my mind right now as examples. But anyway, the thing is, again, that the higher the price is, the more touch points you probably need, especially when you're starting with coder audience. So this is why what I'm saying, like when you are starting your business in the beginning, even if it's something that where you're selling a higher ticket product or service, this is why when you're starting, your first clients often come from your existing network. And your first sales come from people who already trust you, friends, colleagues, early supporters, like second degree maybe. And your job is to design a journey that allows new people to trust you too. It encourages them to trust you. It builds that know, like, and trust factor. This is your job when you are designing your customer journey. So again, thinking about these three components: marketing, sales, and delivery. What are the touch points? Keep it simple. Start with a simple path. Like step one is in marketing. Step two is in the sale conversation or page or whatever it is. And step three is delivery. Now, from there, you can start seeing, okay, maybe step one to step two is too big. Let's add step 1.1 where we actually insert something, like we help people to move forward. And as I mentioned before, I just want to repeat it one more time. As you list all these touch points in these different areas, in the marketing, sales, and delivery, you want to ask yourself, what do people expect at this touch point? Are you delivering on the expectation? If it's a yes, fantastic. If it's a no, what do you need to do to deliver on the expectation? Because if you're not meeting basic expectations, your business will not succeed will be successful. Even if it's successful right now, will not be successful for long. So what is the basic expectation? Are you meeting it? And then the second thing is, what have you promised them? And are you delivering on this promise? And as I'm wrapping up for today, I want to add two things. So one thing that we forget, like established businesses don't do this, and in the beginning, we don't even think about it. It's referrals and testimonials. So early on, include them in your customer journey. Include this as a touch point where you ask your clients for referrals and for testimonials. Ask them for Google reviews. Ask them to introduce you to others. Do this, and this is a way for you to, first of all, with referrals, it's an accelerator, because when someone refers someone to you, that other person, they like, you kind of piggyback on the know, like, and trust factor that you have through the referrer. So awesome way to get in front of people who are more likely to buy from you. Like they have fewer objections, and this is actually I can find some data. There is research being done that these are people who will sign up for you with you, more likely to sign up with you, more likely to have higher lifetime value, customer value, mm, less objections, more pleasant to work with. So referrals and then the testimonials is what gives you social proof. Yes, of course, if you have the Google reviews, it helps with Google ranking and things like this, and you showing up in other places. Also, that social proof that you are actually legit, that what you have matters. So these two things as a bonus, make sure that this is part of the customer journey. And just to finish things for today, the main idea, keep it simple as possible. Think about if you have an existing business where you are doing this exercise of mapping your customer journey. Think about actually, I would share one thing that, again, it's counterintuitive, but again, especially if you already have an existing business, multiple sources like for marketing, multiple channels, multiple offers, and all these kind of things. A lot of times, improvement comes by us simplifying. So, the first thing you want to ask yourself is, can we remove something? What can we remove that will actually improve the experience? And then adding is more of a secondary thing. If you're just starting again, keeping it simple. One way to market and attract people, one way to sell to them, one way to deliver, and at one offer you have and one way to deliver it. Keep it simple, make it work, and then start growing from there. So this is it for today. It's been a long 30-minute training on my side. And again, next week, Joris and I will be together. We'll see about the live, what time it will be, whether it will be 6 p.m. or if we'll move it, but we'll definitely let you know in the group. So stay tuned for this one. And if you're not part of the group again, the link to join is in the description of this episode. It is a free community of other founders. Some are starting, some have established businesses. So come join us, be part of the conversations happening in the group. It is a relatively brand new group. So as you come and interact with us, like we were able to pay more attention, of course, compared to groups that have tens of thousands of people in them. So we would love to see you in the Visionary Founders Club. And if you are in the club, if you are listening to this recording or right now watching it, if there are any questions, of course, head to the discussions and ask your questions. Both Joris and I are here to help you. And yeah, this is it for now. Have a wonderful rest of the day or evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. And we'll be back next week with another topic to help you build a successful business that you love, a business that is fulfilling, a business that gives you the financial freedom, the time freedom, whatever you desire. Thanks again and see you next week.